Welcome to my channel, Auto AIYT Story. Stepfather, don't skip my video. It was a warm Friday evening, the sun dipping low on the horizon, casting a golden hue across the city. Emma sat in the passenger seat of her older stepfather's car, glancing at the window as the landscape whizzed by. Tom, her stepfather, was driving them home from a family dinner at her mother's sister's house. There was a certain thrill in being alone with him. It felt illicit and exciting, stirring something deep within her. Emma had always admired Tom, not just for his rugged good looks and easy charm, but also for the way he seemed to understand her in a way no one else did. "Did you enjoy dinner?" Tom asked, breaking the comfortable silence. "It was nice," Emma replied, her voice soft. "I always love Aunt Karen's lasagna." "Yeah, she makes the best." He chuckled, his eyes still focused on the road. "But you should have seen your mother's face when she realized she forgot to bring the garlic bread. I thought she would kill me." Emma laughed, the sound bright and airy, contrasting the tension that was slowly building between them. There was something unspoken hanging in the air, an electricity that had developed over the years since her mother married Tom. As he glanced at her, his gaze lingered a moment too long, and her heart skipped a beat. Their drive was filled with casual banter, but beneath the surface, a current of desire was bubbling. The way Tom's fingers gripped the steering wheel, the slight movement of his muscles beneath his shirt as he shifted in his seat. It was all becoming too much for Emma to ignore. Suddenly, the car jolted as Tom swerved to avoid a pothole. "Wow, that was close," he said, laughter in his voice, but Emma could see the glint of something else in his eyes. A hint of mischief, perhaps. As they turned onto a quieter road, the city lights began to fade, replaced by dark trees lining the highway. "Let's take a longer route," Tom suggested, his voice low and inviting. "I don't want this night to end just yet." Emma's heart raised at the implication. She nodded, unable to find her voice. The thrill of the unknown sending shivers down her spine. After driving for a while, Tom pulled over to a secluded area by the side of the road. The moon was bright, illuminating the forest around them, creating an intimate, almost magical atmosphere. "What are we doing?" Emma asked, her pulse quickening as she turned to face him. "Just wanted to get out for a minute, stretch my legs." "The view here is beautiful," Tom replied, his smile disarming, as they stepped out of the car.
The cool night air enveloped them. Tom leaned against the hood, his casual demeanor masking the tension that hung between them. Emma stood beside him, acutely aware of the closeness of their bodies. She could feel the heat radiating from him, and it sent butterflies fluttering in her stomach. "Can you believe how beautiful it is out here?" he said, gesturing toward the stars twinkling above them. "It's incredible." Emma breathed, her eyes drifting to the sky, but her thoughts were solely focused on Tom. There was something in his gaze that made her heart race, a desire that mirrored her own. Without thinking, she stepped closer to him, feeling bold. In the moment, their eyes low and the air crackled with anticipation. Tom's expression shifted, growing serious, Emma, before he could finish. She leaned in, closing the distance between them, her lips capturing his. In a tentative kiss, it was soft at first, just a whisper of contact, but as Tom responded, it deepened. Turning electric, Emma melted against him, feeling his warmth envelop her, his hands finding their way to her waist, pulling her closer. The kiss was everything she had imagined, in more tender, yet urgent, filled with a hunger that had been building for far too long. She felt his hands slide up her back, fingers tangling in her hair as he deepened the kiss. Emma's head swam with the thrill of their connection, the world around them fading into nothing. They finally pulled away, breathless, both of them stunned by what had just transpired. Tom searched her eyes, looking for reassurance. "I shouldn't have, Dash." "No," Emma interrupted, her voice steadier than she felt. I wanted that. I've wanted it for a while now. He stepped back slightly, a mix of surprise and concern on his face. Emma, this isn't very easy. You're my stepdaughter. What we just did, Dash. I know, she replied, frustration mingling with excitement, but I feel something real here, don't you? He hesitated, glancing away as he wrestled with his thoughts. Of course, I do, but we need to be careful. Why? Because of what others will think, or because of your brother? Emma challenged, stepping forward again, determined. Both Tom admitted, his voice low, but mostly because I care about you. I don't want to ruin what we have. Maybe it's already changed, she said softly, her heart racing at the intensity of the moment. Perhaps we can make it work. He looked at her, desire flickering in his gaze again, but there was still uncertainty. You really want this? I do, she whispered, reaching for his hand, intertwining their fingers. The connection was electric, sending heat coursing through her body. Let's not overthink it, be with me. Tom exhaled sharply, tension easing from his shoulders as he pulled her closer once more. All right, he said, his voice firm but warm. Let's take this slow, one step at a time. Emma smiled, relief flooding her. She leaned up to kiss him again, their lips moving together as if they were meant to fit. The kiss ignited a fire within her, their bodies pressing together under the cool night air. She felt alive, exhilarated by the danger of their situation. After what felt like an eternity, they finally pulled apart, breathless and grinning. Let's get back on the road before someone sees us, Tom suggested, his eyes sparkling with mischief. They returned to the car, their fingers still intertwined, the air thick with unspoken possibilities as they drove back. The tension had shifted. The air was charged with anticipation and the thrill of their newfound connection. Do you think we'll be okay? Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as she watched the road ahead. Tom turned to her, his gaze serious. I hope so, but we need to be smart about this. No one can find out. Emma nodded, understanding the gravity of their situation. Yet, as they continued their journey, she felt a sense of empowerment. They were two people navigating uncharted waters together, bound by their desires and the thrill of the unknown. As the weeks passed, Emma and Tom found themselves entangled in a web of secrecy. Their stolen moments became increasingly daring, the thrill of hiding their relationship igniting their passion, whether it was a lingering touch while washing dishes or wise whispered confessions during movie nights. Every encounter made their bond stronger. One afternoon, while Emma's mother was out running errands, Tom came over under the guise of helping her with homework. They sat on the couch, textbooks sprawled across the coffee table, but their focus was entirely on each other. You know, I was thinking, Tom began, his voice slow, maybe we should take this a step further. Emma's heart raced, excitement and fear swirling within her. What do you mean? I mean, let's not hide anymore. What if we went on a proper date? Just us. He looked at her, searching for her reaction. Are you sure? She asked, biting her lip. What if someone sees us? Let them see. He said, his gaze steady. I want to be with you, Emma. I don't care what anyone thinks. That night they went out for ice cream, laughter spilling from their lips as they walked hand in hand down the board walk. The thrill of being together in public was intoxicating. They shared shy glances and playful nudges, the warmth of their connection evident in every gesture as they finished their ice cream. Tom turned to her, his expression serious. Emma, I want to kiss you here right now, but I don't want to make you uncomfortable. Emma's heart raced. I'm not uncomfortable, she replied, her voice steady. I want that too, with a smile that made her heart flutter. Tom leaned in, capturing her lips in a kiss that was sweet and soft, the world around them fading into oblivion. It felt like freedom, a release from the weight of their secret. However, the thrill of their relationship came with its own set of complications. As their connection deepened, they both began to realize that their actions could have serious consequences. One afternoon, while lounging on the couch, Tom received a text from his brother Alex. "Hey, where are you? Mum just asked about you." "I think she suspects something," Hanique said, and as Tom looked at Emma, who was watching him closely, her expression a mix of concern and fear. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "We need to be careful," he replied, a hint of urgency in his tone. "I can't let Alex find out about us. Not yet." Emma nodded, feeling the weight of the situation. The thrill that once excited her now felt like a dangerous game. "What if your mum finds out?" she asked, her anxiety creeping in. "I'll talk to Alex. I'll make sure he doesn't say anything," Tom assured her, though his brow furrowed with worry. I just need to keep this under wraps for now. Can you do that?" Emma felt torn. She loved their time together, but the fear of being discovered was becoming overwhelming. "I can try," she said slowly. "Not entirely convinced, but it feels like we're living a lie." "I know," Tom said, taking her hand and squeezing it gently, "but I want to make this work. I don't want to lose you." As the days turned into weeks, their relationship grew even more intense, with stolen kisses in the kitchen and secret rendezvous at the park. But the looming fear of discovery never left their minds. Emma often found herself glancing over her shoulder, feeling like every passerby was a potential threat. One evening, they were at Tom's house, the living room dimly lit and cozy. They were cuddled up on the couch, the tea playing a muted movie in the background, as they shared a bowl of popcorn. Emma could feel the tension crackling between them. She glanced at Tom, who was looking intently at her. "Do you ever think about what happens next?" Tom asked. Breaking the silence. "What do you mean?" she replied, her heart racing at the seriousness of his tone. "Like, if we keep going like this, what will it mean for us? For your mum, for Alex?" He ran a hand through his hair, visibly troubled. "I don't know," Emma admitted, "but I know. I don't want to stop being with you. It feels too good." Tom sighed, a mix of longing and frustration in his eyes. "It does feel good, but it's complicated. I can't help but worry about what will happen if we're found out." "I'm scared too," she confessed, her voice trembling. "But I also feel alive. This is real to me." He looked deep into her eyes, and for a moment the world outside faded away. "You mean everything to me, Emma. I want to protect you," he said softly. "I wish to protect us," Emma replied, leaning closer to him. "Maybe we need to be more careful." "Yeah, maybe," he said, his eyes searching hers. Then, without thinking, he leaned in and captured her lips in a heated kiss. Emma melted against him, the warmth of his body igniting her desire. She lost herself in the moment, wrapping her arms around his neck, deepening the kiss as he pulled her closer. However, their passionate kiss was suddenly interrupted by the sound of the front door opening. Emma's heart dropped as she pulled away. White-eyed Tom's mother, Sarah, stepped into the room, her expression shifting from surprise to confusion. "What's going on here?" she asked, her voice laced with disbelief. Emma froze, her mind racing. Tom quickly stood up, stepping in front of Emma as if to shield her from view. "Mum, it's not what it looks like," he stammered, Hannah evident in his voice. "Then what is it?" Sarah demanded, crossing her arms and narrowing her eyes. "I just walked in on you two, kissing on the couch. That's exactly what it looks like." Emma felt her cheeks flush with embarrassment, and she could see Tom's face turning a shade of crimson. "We were watching a movie," he replied, his voice shaky. "Yeah, right," Sarah scoffed, disbelief written all over her face. "You think I'm blind? You're not kids anymore. I know what this is." Emma glanced at Tom, who looked desperate, his expression pleading with her to say something. "Mrs. Thompson, she began, but Sarah raised her hand to stop her. "I don't want to hear it," Sarah interrupted. "You're my son's stepdaughter. This is beyond inappropriate." "Emma." Tom stepped forward, his voice firm but respectful. "Mum, listen, we didn't plan for this to happen. It just did, but it's real. I care about her. Caring about her doesn't make this okay," Sarah exclaimed, frustration boiling over. "You need to think about your actions and the consequences they have on our family." Emma's heart sank as she listened to the confrontation. I'm sorry, she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. I never wanted to hurt anyone. Then you shouldn't have gotten involved in the first place, Sarah shot back her voice. Rising, Mom, please, Tom said, stepping in front of Emma protectively. Can't you see how happy she makes me? I love her. The words hung in the air, heavy with emotion. Emma's breath caught in her throat, the weight of his confession settling over her. She could see the surprise and hurt in Sarah's eyes, but it was overshadowed by the love and defiance in Tom's. Love, Sarah echoed incredulously. You're saying you love her? Yes, Tom affirmed, his voice steady. I do. The silence that followed felt like an eternity. Sarah's expression shifted, torn between anger and concern. You're being foolish, she finally said her voice softer. You have to think about your future. This isn't a game. It's not a game for me, Tom replied fiercely. I don't care about the future if it doesn't include Emma. Tom, please think about this, Sarah pleaded. Your mother will be devastated. We can't have this kind of relationship in our family. Maybe we can figure something out, Emma interjected, her voice shaking. I don't want to ruin anything either. I care about Tom. I can't just ignore this, Sarah said, her tone firm. This is serious, I understand, Tom said, taking a deep breath. But I'm not going to walk away from Emma just because it's complicated, Emma whispered, feeling a mix of fear and admiration for his courage. Maybe we need some time apart to think about this, Sarah suggested cautiously. I want to talk to your mother, Tom. We need to have a family discussion about this, fine, Tom said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. But I'm not going to give up on Emma. Not now, not ever. Emma felt a surge of hope at his words, but it was tinged with uncertainty. What happens now? She asked softly, looking at Tom, desperate for answers. I'll talk to you after dinner, he said, his voice low. We'll figure it out, I promise. As Sarah left the room, Emma felt the tension settle in the air. What if she tells my mum? She asked, her voice trembling. She won't. Tom said, though, uncertainty flickered in his eyes. I'll make sure of it. I need some time to talk to her. Emma nodded, though fear gripped her heart. She didn't want to lose what they had, but the reality of their situation was becoming increasingly clear. What if this changes everything? She whispered. Tom stepped closer, wrapping his arms around her. I won't let it change us. He promised, his voice soothing. I care too much about you. We'll find a way in the days that followed. The weight of their secret loomed heavier than ever. Tom and Emma spent as much time together as they could, but every stolen moment felt shadowed by the threat of discovery. They met, in quiet corners shared furtive kisses. But the thrill of their romance was tinged with anxiety. One evening, Emma sat on her bed staring at her phone, anxiety gnawing at her. She needed to know what Tom had said to his mother, but she didn't want to push him. Just then, a text from him lit up the screen. Tom, can we meet at the park tonight? We need to talk. Her heart raced as she quickly texted back Emma. Of course, I'll be there. When she arrived at the park, the moonlight bathed everything in a soft glow. She found Tom sitting on a bench, his expression serious. Hey, he said, standing up as she approached. Thanks for coming. What did your mum say? Emma asked. Her heart pounding, Tom took a deep breath, his gaze intense. She was upset, of course, but she understands that I care about you. She said, we need to be responsible though. We can't keep this a secret forever. Emma felt a rush of relief, but also fear. What does that mean for us? She wants to talk to your mum. Tom replied, his expression grim. But I want you to know that I'm not backing down. I love you and I want to be with you no matter what, Tom. I love you too, she said, her heart soaring. But this is also complicated. What if my mum can't accept this? What if it tears our families apart? Tom took a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers with a fierce intensity. I won't let that happen. We can figure this out together. I refuse to lose you. Emma's heart swelled with love, but the reality of their situation loomed over her like a dark cloud. I don't want anyone to get hurt. You know how my mum is, she might not take this well. I know, he replied, his voice softening, but I think it's better for both of us. If we're honest, hiding, this is tearing me apart. I want to be open about how I feel, even if it's scary. She nodded, knowing he was right. They had been living in the shadows for too long. Okay, let's talk to my mum together, Emma said, her voice steadying as determination filter. I'll support you and you'll support me. We can do this together. Tom affirmed, a warm smile breaking through the tension. He reached out and squeezed her hand, grounding them both in the moment. I can't believe we're actually doing this. They sat on the bench, their fingers intertwined, feeling a sense of resolve and purpose. They were ready to face whatever came next. Together the next evening, Emma and Tom decided to confront her mother. They agreed to meet at her house after dinner. Emma's stomach twisted with nerves as they walked up the front steps. You ready? Tom asked, his voice low as he glanced at her. As ready as I'll ever be, she replied. Taking a deep breath, they entered the house, finding her mother in the living room reading a book. Mom, can we talk? Emma said, her heart racing. Sure, sweetie, what's on your mind? Her mother replied, looking up with a warm smile. Emma glanced at Tom, who nodded, encouraging her to go on. It's about Tom and me at the mention of Tom's name. Her mother's expression shifted, curiosity mixed with concern. What about Tom? Emma took a deep breath. Stealing herself, we've developed feelings for each other, romantic feelings, and we want to be honest with you about it. There was a moment of silence, the weight of Emma's words hanging heavily in the air. Tom shifted beside her, his presence a steady reassurance. Feelings? Her mother echoed, her eyebrows raised in disbelief. You mean like dating? Yes, Emma said firmly. It's serious for us. Her mother set her book down, her expression shifting to one of concern. Emma, he's your stepfather. This isn't just a simple relationship, it's complicated. I understand, Emma said, her voice steady, but I love him, and he loves me. I didn't plan for this, but it just happened. Tom stepped forward, his voice sincere. Mrs. Johnson, I care about Emma deeply. I know this isn't easy, but I want to respect your family and be honest about our relationship. Emma's mother took a deep breath. Processing the situation, I need to understand how you both feel about this. Emma, this could change everything for our family. Are you sure you're ready for this? I am, Emma insisted, feeling a rush of determination. I've never felt this way about anyone before. Tom makes me happy and I don't want to hide anymore. Sarah sat in silence, her fingers steepling as she considered their words. Finally, she looked at them, her expression softening. I won't pretend to understand all of this. It's unexpected, and I'm worried about the consequences, but I also want you both to be happy. Emma's heart leapt, feeling a glimmer of hope. Thank you for listening, Mum. We just wanted to be honest with you. I appreciate your honesty, and I'm glad you came to me, her mother said. But we need to talk more about this. You need to understand the impact it will have on everyone. After that initial conversation, things were still tense, but a sense of relief washed over Emma and Tom. They were no longer hiding, and while her mother was concerned, she had shown a willingness to listen over the next few weeks. Emma and Tom navigated their new relationship openly. They attended family gatherings side by side and shared their story with Emma's mother, who was slowly coming to terms with it. There were difficult moments, of course, awkward conversations with family members and curious glances. But Emma felt empowered one evening while sitting on the couch with Tom. Emma's mother joined them. I've been thinking, she said, her tone serious. Maybe we should have a family meeting. Everyone needs to be on the same page, especially your brother Alex. Emma's heart sank at tea. The mention of her brother. Do we have to tell him? She asked, anxiety creeping in eventually. Yes, her mother replied, but I'll be there to help explain it. I want him to understand how you both feel. Emma exchanged a glance with Tom, who nodded, offering silent support. Okay, she said reluctantly. I trust you. The family meeting was set for the following weekend. Emma's nerves were a jumble as she prepared. She had always been close with Alex, and the thought of him reacting negatively made her stomach twist. When the day finally arrived, the atmosphere in the house was thick with tension. Emma, Tom, and her mother sat around the dining room table while Alex arrived shortly after. He looked between them, confusion etched on his face. What's going on? He asked. Pulling out a chair, her mother cleared her throat, her expression serious. Alex, we need to talk about Emma and Tom. Emma took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. We're together. Alex, we're dating, she said, her voice steady, despite the anxiety coursing through her. What do you mean dating? He replied, his eyebrows furrowing. He's your stepdad, I know, but we fell in love. Emma said, her heart racing. It wasn't planned, but it's real. I care about him and he cares about me. Alex stared at them in shock, the reality of the situation slowly sinking in. This is insane, he finally said. You can't be serious. It is serious. Tom interjected, his voice calm but firm. I know this isn't easy to understand, but I care about Emma sincerely. I want to be honest with all of you. Alex looked between Emma and Tom, his expression shifting from disbelief to confusion. But what about Mom? How does she feel about this? She's learning to accept it, Emma said, trying to keep her voice steady. We want to be a family, even if it looks different now. I can't believe this, Alex said, shaking his head. You're both messing with everything. This is going to ruin our family. Alex, please listen, Emma pleaded, feeling tears prick at her eyes. We didn't ask for this to happen, but we can make it work. I love him, love. Alex scoffed. You're too young to understand what love is. You're just confused. Don't dismiss her feelings, Tom said firmly. Stepping in, Emma knows what she wants and so do I, but we're not going to hide anymore. After a long silence, Alex slumped back in his chair, visibly shaken. I need time to process this, he finally muttered, shaking his head in disbelief. I can't just accept it. In the days that followed, there was an air of uncertainty in the house. Alex kept his distance and Emma felt the weight of their conversation heavy on her shoulders. Tom stayed close, offering support as they navigated the emo fallout one evening. Emma found herself sitting alone on the back porch, lost in thought. Tom joined her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. You okay? He asked softly. No, she admitted, her voice cracking. I feel so lost. I don't want to hurt anyone, especially Alex. I know, he replied, his tone comforting, but we can't control how others think. All we can do is be honest about our love. Emma leaned against him, finding solace in his warmth. What if Alex never accepts us? She whispered, the fear creeping in. He will, Tom said, his voice steady. It just takes time. He cares about you, and eventually he'll see how happy we are together. But what if it tears us apart? She pressed her heart heavy with doubt. It won't. He reassured her, tilting her chin up to meet his gaze. We'll make it through this, just like we always have together. As the weeks turned into months, Alex's initial shock began to wane, though he still struggled with the concept of their relationship. There were moments of quiet understanding. Emma remained hopeful that they could rebuild their bond. Despite the complications, one afternoon, as Emma was studying in her room, she heard a knock on her door. It was Alex, looking tentative. Can I come in? He asked, his voice softer than before. Of course, she replied, her heart racing. He stepped inside, glancing around as he took a seat on the edge of her bed. I've been thinking about everything. He began, his eyes searching for the right words. And I want to talk. Emma felt her heart leap at the possibility of reconciliation. Okay, what's on your mind? Still, I wouldn't say I like the idea of you and Tom together. He admitted, his voice firm, but lacking the hostility. It once had. It feels weird, but I also realize I can't change how you feel about him. Thank you for saying that. Emma replied, her voice softening. I know this is hard for you. It's hard for me too. I never wanted to hurt you. I know, he said, running a hand through his hair. I guess I need time to get used to it, and I'm sorry if I overreacted. I just felt like everything was changing so fast. It is a lot to take in. Emma said, her heart swelling with hope. But I care about you, and I want to make sure we're okay, no matter what happens between me and Tom. Alex nodded, his expression thoughtful. I want that too, but you need to promise me something. Anything, Emma said earnestly. Don't let this ruin your relationship with Mum. She's trying her best to understand, and I don't want to see you hurt because of this. He said, his voice steady. We're family, and that matters more than anything. I promise, Alex, I'll talk to her, and I'll keep our family together. She vowed thank you for being willing to talk about this. As the weeks passed, Emma took the time to mend her relationship with her brother. She and Alex spent more time together, watching movies and sharing meals, finding common ground despite the underlying tension. Meanwhile, her relationship with Tom continued to grow intense longer as they faced challenges head-on. Eventually, Emma's mother sat down with Alex and Emma for a family meeting. I want to talk about how we can all move forward. She began, her tone serious yet hopeful. Can we try to understand each other's feelings? Emma suggested, looking at her mother and brother. I don't want this to create a divide in our family. I agree, her mother replied. It's essential for us to be honest about how we feel, even if it's uncomfortable. As they discussed their concerns and hopes, Emma felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. They began to share stories and laughter gradually. Bridging the gap that had formed, Tom remained a constant presence in Emma's life, respectful and supportive, ensuring that he was never a source of tension. Months passed, and as summer turned into fall, Emma's family began to accept her relationship with Tom. They celebrated holidays together, navigating the complexities with grace and humor. Emma found herself grateful for the resilience of their family bond. One sunny afternoon, as they all gathered in the backyard for a barbecue, Emma caught Tom's eye across the yard. He was laughing with Alex, a genuine connection forming between them. Her heart swelled with gratitude, realizing that their love had the power to heal and unite rather than tear apart later that evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Tom took Emma's hand and led her away from the crowd. I'm proud of you for everything, he said, softly brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. You stood up for what you wanted and it paid off. Thank you for being patient with me. Emma replied, feeling the warmth of his hand. I couldn't have done this without your support always. He promised, his eyes filled with affection. I'm here for the long run. As they stood together surrounded by the laughter of their families, Emma realized that love in all its complexity was worth fighting for. Hay had faced challenges and uncertainties, but through it all they had emerged stronger, more united. Epilogue. A bright future over the next few years, Emma and Tom continued to navigate their relationship with love and respect. They learned to balance their lives, ensuring that family remained at the forefront of their priorities. Alex eventually became more supportive, even teasing Emma about her older boyfriend at family gatherings. Though always with a smile, Emma pursued her dreams, inspired by the strength of her family, while Tom stood by her side as her biggest cheerleader. Their love story was one of resilience and growth, proving that even the most complicated situations could lead to beautiful beginnings. In time, they realized that love didn't always come in neat packages, but it was the journey that made it worthwhile. As they faced life's challenges hand in, and Emma and Tom knew that their bond would carry them through anything, rooted in the love they had fought so hard to nurture. And as they moved forward together, they embraced the future with open hearts, ready for whatever adventures awaited them. Emma and Tom's love story blossomed beautifully as they embraced their lives together, navigating the complexities of love, family, and personal aspirations each day brought them closer, fostering a bond that was not only romantic but deeply rooted. They should include a trip to see the Northern Lights or a romantic getaway to a cozy cabin in the woods. However, life wasn't without its challenges. As Emma pursued her career, she encountered setbacks that tested her resilience. There were days when she felt overwhelmed by self-doubt and pressure. Tom was always there, providing encouragement and reassurance. Remember when we first started dating, he asked one evening, noticing her frustration after a tough day at work, "You tackled every obstacle with determination. You can do this too." His unwavering belief in her abilities sparked a renewed fire. Within Emma, she took a deep breath, grateful for his support. "You're right, I need to keep pushing forward with Tom by her side." She found the strength to overcome each hurdle, celebrating her victories together, no matter how small years passed, and their bond only grew stronger. One crisp autumn day, while walking through a vibrant park filled with colourful leaves, Tom stopped suddenly, his expression serious. "Emma," he began pulling her close these past few years with, "You have been the happiest of my life, you've brought so."